Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with the poem Childhood. Childhood is written by Marcus Natten. So, about the poet, Marcus Natten was a Norwegian. He wrote this poem when he was 12 years old. This is obviously a translation of how one can imagine how great it would be in his language. He basically has written this poem telling that childhood is basically a period of innocence and what one feels when it is lost. First stanza. The poem Childhood begins with the poet pondering over when was it that he lost his childhood. He wonders if it was the time when he crossed the age of 11 or the time when he started realizing that there is no real existence of heaven and hell as they could not be geographically located in maps. Obviously, when you cannot find a place in maps, it means it doesn't exist in geography books. Second stanza. When the child grows, he or she leaves behind the innocence and obviously turns sensible about the hypocrisy and crafty nature of the adults. The child now acquires a control over his talents and develops his or her individuality. He wonders if he has lost his childhood the moment he realized that adults were not all they pretended to be, or when he recognized that the adults who spoke and preached of love themselves did not act so lovingly. So basically, it means that adults were not what actually they showed themselves to be. And that is what he realizes the hypocrisy of adults when he loses his childhood. Stanza 3. The poet asks if he lost his childhood when he realized that he has a mind of his own or that he can choose his own way, guided by his mind now capable of producing thoughts and opinions that are different from other people. In short, when one is not influenced by others' opinions or mindset, he probably grows old and has lost his childhood. Now, in these three stanzas, we have seen that the same question has been repeated. So, this very clearly shows that perhaps the poet is not, exactly sure which was the exact time. So, he's giving all those stages when he thinks that he lost his childhood. And finally, the fourth stanza. The poet speculates as to where his childhood disappeared. Though he is not aware of the day he lost his childhood, he knows that it has gone to some forgotten place. He finally ends up on the hopeful note that his childhood is somewhere in an infant's innocent face. That means the childhood is marked by innocence. Now, obviously, it has gone to some forgotten place because the childhood is a stage which cannot be brought back in one's life. But yes, if you look into the faces of other children, that again you can see that infant's innocence there. So that is what is said, that innocence is basically a characteristic marked by the childhood. All right. Now, if we talk about the theme of the poem, this is what it is. Obviously, the poet laments the loss of his innocence because of the loss of childhood. Over the years, his body and mind have grown, and this change is so subtle that he could hardly notice where and when his childhood disappeared. So, unlike the days of his childhood, he now can realize the hypocritical nature of the adults. He has a grown up mind now and can think independently, and he has learnt control over his thoughts. However, he definitely laments upon this fact that there is a loss of innocence, but he also reassures himself, hoping to see that innocence in the faces of other children. Thank you.